About 70% of the homes I've helped buyers close on live in one of 3 towns south of Austin. They are wildly different from each other. They appeal to completely different relocators, and choosing the wrong one will cost you years of regret. So let me give you the honest breakdown of Kyle, Buda, and Bastrop, ranked the way I would rank them for my own sister. Hi, I'm Brandon Holley with Holley Homes Realty right here in South Austin. And if you're moving to the Austin area, narrowed it down to one of the south suburbs and trying to figure out which one is actually the right fit for your life, budget, and your commute, this is the video for you. I work all 3 of these suburbs and I have closings in each one. I'm going to tell you exactly where I would point you toward and why. So here's what we're going to cover. First, the real April 2026 numbers for each town, the median price, days on market, and where the market actually stands today. Second, the vibe and the lifestyle, what you actually feel when you live in each of these places. And then third, my honest ranking, who Kyle is for, who Buda is for, and who Bastrop is for. And the one trade-off in each town that most agents won't mention until you've already signed. Let's start with the numbers because the numbers tell a story most people don't expect. In April 2026, the median sold price in Kyle was about $308,000. In Buda, that was at $367,000, and Bastrop was sitting at $390,000. Most people relocating assume Buda is the most expensive because it's closest to Austin and has that small town premium. The data says otherwise. Bastrop is actually higher than Buda on the median sold price right now, and Bastrop is also the only one of these 3 towns where prices are still appreciating month over month. Buda is the fastest mover. Homes here are going pending in about 38 days on average. Kyle is sitting around 70 days, whereas Bastrop is at 77. And the market type matters too. Buda is a clear seller's market, where Kyle is a seller's market that's softening, and Bastrop is the most balanced of the 3, which means if you're a buyer, Bastrop also is where you have the most negotiating leverage today. And if you're considering a move to Central Texas and you want this kind of breakdown every single week, hit subscribe as I bring you a new video each Monday. Let's start with Buda because that's where I do the most volume, and that's where I rank number 1 on Google for the Buda relocation guide. Buda is the small town charm play that sits about 20 minutes south of downtown Austin, right off of I-35. It's already developed and it's still growing fast. The downtown area has a walkable main street with mom and pop coffee shops, cute boutiques, and a local restaurant scene that makes it really feel like a small town. The 2 big master plan communities are Sunfield, which has 2 lazy rivers, and Persimmon, which is a brand new 775-acre master plan community by Milestone Community Builders. One sits east of 35 and one sits west, which does matter. When you head east of I-35 in Buda, the prices do come down, but you lose the trees and the hill country feel. West of I-35 is where you get all of that back with that Texas charm and character. I had a first-time buyer recently close in Turner's Crossing, and what's funny is we've been talking for almost 3 years before she actually pulled the trigger. That's very normal here. People moving to Buda usually aren't trying to sprint into a decision. They want time to figure out the area, their commute, the schools, and lifestyle. They want to figure out all of it, and when the timing finally felt right, she did make a move and is extremely happy with her decision. Now let's talk Kyle. It sits about 30 minutes south of downtown Austin, halfway to San Marcos, and the closest of the 3 to San Antonio. Kyle is the value plus amenity suburb. You've got the lowest median sold price of the 3 at $308,000. You've got master plan communities at every price point. Six Creeks is a luxury neighborhood with Highland homes and resort style amenities, whereas Anthem is a family anchor community with an elementary school inside the community. And then Toll Brothers just announced Clara Vista, which will push Kyle further up market. And on the affordable end, you've got builders like D.R. Horton and Braun Homes building entire communities at price points the rest of Austin area can't touch. The other thing happening in Kyle is the commercial growth. You have Costco, big name restaurants are coming in, and if you want a suburb that feels like a real city is growing around you, Kyle is going to be it. And before we get into Bastrop, I want to hear from you. If you had to pick right now, just based on the first two, which one feels more like you, drop it in the comments before I tell you my rankings of Buda and Kyle. Here's a quick story. I just helped a buyer move down from Dallas and build a house here in Kyle from the dirt up. It took 6 months start to finish, and if you've ever bought new construction for the first time, you know there are a lot of questions, timelines, inspections, warranties, walkthroughs, all of it. We navigated the whole thing together, and honestly, they still call me after closing whenever they have homeowner questions. That's just the kind of vibe in Kyle right now. People aren't just passing through, they're settling in. And then there's Bastrop, which is its own thing. Bastrop sits east of the airport, and it's known as the Lost Pines, which means actual pine trees inside the Austin metro area, which most people don't realize exist. And then you have the Colorado River running through downtown. The Colony is the big master plan community here. It has multiple builders, but the bigger story is that Bastrop has years of growth in front of it. You have new restaurants, new construction, and new amenities that are going in monthly. And if you want to buy in a town that's at the front edge of its growth cycle instead of the middle of it, Bastrop is going to be your answer. And here's where Bastrop surprised me when I pulled the data this week. It's actually the most expensive of the three on median sold price. It sits at $390,000, and it's the only one of the three where prices are still going up month over month. And it's the most balanced market, which means as a buyer, you have more negotiating room here than in Buda or Kyle. I recently helped a family relocate from East Texas to Bastrop, and the funny thing is they only spent 1 weekend here before deciding this was the place to call home. They were referred to me by an agent in Bullard, toured homes for a couple of days, found one they loved, and then we handled the rest remotely while they wrapped up life back home. That's kind of the effect Bastrop has on people. Once they experience the downtown, the trees, the river, the slower pace, it all clicks pretty fast. So here's how I'd actually rank them for you. If you want larger lots, more land, and the option to actually have some space to yourself, you're going to Bastrop or Kyle. Buda's lots are typically smaller. If you want to be as close to Austin and the airport as possible, you're going to go to Bastrop or Buda. Kyle is actually the furthest from both, and honestly, Bastrop is actually closer to the airport than Buda is once you account for traffic. Most people actually do not realize that. And then if you're commuting to San Antonio for work, Kyle is always going to be the answer. It cuts your drive time significantly. Then if you want walkable small town downtown energy with mom and pop coffee shops and that established feel, then Buda is going to be your choice. And then of course, if you want those authentic pine trees, river access, and the front edge of a major growth wave, that's Bastrop. And then if you want maximum amenities, big name retail, and master plan communities at all price points, you're going to lean towards Kyle. Now, there's no wrong answer among these three. There's just the right answer for your specific situation. Now, I want to be honest with you about the trade-offs in each town, because if you only listen to the good stuff, you're going to be very disappointed at some point. Buda's biggest challenge is traffic on I-35. Also, the lots in most of the Buda master plan communities also run on the smaller side. So if you came to Central Texas looking for space, Buda might not be the right answer for you. And then you have Kyle's challenges, which is infrastructure. Many of the roads are still 2-lane, which creates real traffic headaches as the town keeps growing. The city is working on it, but you'll feel it in the meantime. The other honest thing about Kyle right now is that the median sold price actually dropped by about 5% month over month. And then you have Bastrop, which has the longest commute to Austin of the three. And until those 71 flyovers get built, you can expect 20 to 30 extra minutes during peak hours. So make sure you have a great podcast. And here's the other Bastrop honesty moment that almost no agent in this market wants to bring up on camera. Bastrop has a real history with wildfires and flooding. The 2011 Bastrop Complex fire was the largest wildfire in Texas history at the time. And the Colorado River, which gives Bastrop much of its character, has flooded parts of the area before. None of that makes Bastrop a bad place to live. Many areas in this country face natural hazards all the time. but you need to do your homework on the specific neighborhood, the elevation, the wildfire defensible space rules, and what your home insurance will cost you before you sign the contract. None of these are a deal breaker, they're just the honest truth, and I'd rather you hear them now than be surprised in your third month of living in your brand new home. If this honest take is helpful, hitting the like button helps YouTube push it to more relocators making the same decision as you. I understand now may not be the right time, and I never want to be pushy. Just know that I am here if you have questions about Kyle, Buda, or Bastrop, would like to start planning, or need anything. My contact info is in the description below. And if you want to go deeper on any of these towns, I put together a free Central Texas relocation guide that breaks down each one in more detail. There's also a link to that in the description. And if you're relocating here from out of state, watch the Moving to Austin from California video next. That one runs through the actual dollar comparisons. And if you're not coming from California, stay tuned because next week I'm breaking down the same comparison for buyers moving from Seattle. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Brandon Holley with Holley Homes Realty, and I hope to see you next week.